Howdy, with this video, I want to go over the APA medical essay, make sure you understand what I'm looking for, particularly in terms of narrowing down topics and trying to figure out what you want to work with for this essay. The essay assignment's there on the content page. That's there under essay project for fall 20, and you just click on the APA medical research essay, and it'll pop it right up. I already got it opened here, downloaded. For this essay, it's going to be longer, it's a little more involved, a lot of new things, but hopefully nothing in an overwhelming way. It's going to be a 1,500-word narrative research essay on the medical topic of your choice. And the idea behind this essay is that you're going to tell someone's story and their experience with a particular medical condition. And that's kind of easy for me to say. It's a little harder once you get into it. Because you got to figure out how you're going to narrow that down. Because 1,500 words sounds like a lot, but most people have already been doing that. And now you're putting in more research, and it gets a little more complicated. So word count's usually not a problem. It's more trying to keep it narrowed and not writing your first book. The big trick to this essay is we're going to use APA formatting. Yes, that's what a whole new brand of formatting for research essays. Yay! But this and APA stands for American Psychological Association. But a lot of the main core points to APA formatting is the same as it is in MLA. You got to credit sources, you got to use them fairly. The long quotes, short quotes, summary, and paraphrase are pretty much the same. You got to cite them just a little bit differently using the year of publication. And also, instead of a works cited page, you have a references page, but it's just listing the sources you use in your essay. And it's a slightly different format, which is irritating. But you're going to see, like particularly with the databases, they show you how to do that, and we're going to be working with that, as we develop the draft. Also, with APA, you're going to have a title page and an abstract page. Those aren't that big of a deal, and we'll show you how to do that as we get there. The abstract page is just a summary of your essay, and that's going to be the second page in your essay. So when you look at that sample essay for journal number 8, I believe, that's kind of what you're going to start looking at. It's like, what? There's a title page, an abstract page. What's that? But hopefully, once you see it, you're going to be kind of like, oh, well, I can do that. But your essay, the topic's very important to consider because with the medical topic, there's a process involved in describing what's happening. If you go down to the bottom of the assignment sheet, it kind of details that a little bit. But if you think about most medical issues, you kind of start out, happy, healthy, normal. Then something happens, right? Either you go to a doctor's visit and they go like, what's that? Or maybe you jumped up for that soccer ball and landed funny on your knee and pop, and down you went, right? With an ACL tear. So sometimes for some diseases, the symptoms are kind of lengthy and drawn out. For others, like an ACL tear, it might just be like, boom, right? And you were down, and it just happened quickly. So everybody's essay is going to be a little bit different. That's what makes these interesting to read. But kind of keep going with that process, and once you kind of have the symptoms of the problem, you get it diagnosed. Then you get treatment. Then you get the results from those treatments, and maybe more treatment, or hopefully they cures you, or maybe there's no cure for what you have, like something like dementia or Alzheimer's. And then for the end of your essay might be some kind of call to action. Do you want us to, if your Uncle Joe had lung cancer because he smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day, you might say, hey, there's a little link there. Quit smoking so you don't end up like Uncle Joe, and live a long, healthy, happy life. Other things might just be, wow, look at the medical miracles we get to work with today. Back in the day, an ACL tear would be the end of your athletic career. Now it's just some months of rehab. It's not fun, but you can get back to playing sports with the medical technology they have today. It's kind of interesting. But the whole point of this essay is you're going to tell someone's story about their experience with the medical topic, and you're going to tell that story and put the research into that story. So if you tell me I'm going to do brain cancer, I'm going to say, well, do you know anybody who's had brain cancer? And if you say, well, no, I'm going to like, well, you can't do that then, because you're going to be telling somebody's story and then putting that research into that story. And you can do, it doesn't have to be life or death. I've had good essays on peanut allergies, like I said, ACL tears, all kinds of teen acne, all kinds of interesting topics. I had one on feline leukemia where the guy used his cat for the essay. It's a little harder for him because you can't interview a cat, but his main focus on the essay was how expensive it can be to try and cure this disease in a cat. I mean, it's cost him thousands and thousands of dollars, and he kind of ended his essay with, a bullet would have cost me 50 cents. It's kind of cold-hearted, maybe, but he's kind of just saying, veterinary technology has come a long way, and he just talked about that in terms of his cat and his cat story. So how you kind of narrow this topic down? Are you going to talk about being a family member dealing with this problem? Are you going to talk about the actual person? You could talk about yourself. or whatever you want to do. But and it might take 2 or 3 topics to get to that final topic. Because one, we're going to publish this on LinkedIn, so you might ask somebody, like, well, because like some students want to do about like PTSD, like post-traumatic stress disorder, and a family member, and sometimes they don't want to talk about it. That's one symptom of that problem is they don't like to talk about their experiences, and they definitely may not want it, posted on the LinkedIn. So make sure you ask permission and all that. Make sure everybody's okay with that. I don't think there's going to be thousands of people looking at it, but you never know. It's out there on the web. Some requirements for this essay. It's not going to be no 3-point thesis, no 5-paragraph format. Hopefully, we're getting beyond that. You got a lot more to talk about than just 5 paragraphs. Half the word count should probably be about the person's experience. The other half should be the research. But again, the focus of the essay is you telling that person's story and then putting the research into that story. And I'm going to say that over and over until you're sick of it. You should have at least 3 authoritative sources other than personal interviews. The databases at Northeast State are a good place to start. If you have a super rare condition and the databases don't cover it, you're probably going to have to go somewhere else. But most conditions have a website dedicated to them. You want to make sure it's kind of peer reviewed, it's authoritative, not just somebody telling about their experience in general. But you should try to use at least 2 sources from the databases. You can also use, I would guess that Sullivan North has the same database as we do, so those might work as well. But make sure, again, they're leading you towards like the TEL databases, the Health and Wellness Resource Center, things like that. But the other sources could be reliable sources of your choosing, but kind of get away from this Wikipedia or just the first thing that comes up on a Google search. Make sure it's authoritative. If you're doing lung cancer, the American Lung Association might have a good site. The American Cancer Society might have a good site. You're going to include at least 2 images in your essay. Those are kind of up to you. Again, before you use someone's image, make sure you tell them, it's like, hey, I'm going to put this on my LinkedIn page so they'll see you in there. Most people don't care, but some people do. It could be a gross out image. If you're going to do something like lung cancer, there's some pretty disgusting pictures out there if you want to show those. If your whole point's like, hey, don't smoke or get checked out before it gets advanced like this, or this is what it's going to look like. I had one on antibiotic resistant infection. That was really gross. About lost my cookies on that one. But as long as it's appropriate and it's based on the topic you're doing, and and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're gonna have at least 2 images. They don't count as the sources. Long quote, short quote, summary, and paraphrase. All the fun punctuation. Got some figurative language. That'll happen naturally as you write. And you kind of want to avoid you. You're telling about one person's particular story, so you want to stay focused on that. You might use you as a hook at the beginning. Some students, if they're going to deal with something like Alzheimer's, will start saying, hey, have you ever lost your keys? Or you ever forget, where you're driving down the road, forgot where you're going? And of course, someone my age is going to go like, yeah. Then I think, oh, great. Then they kind of hook us up. Well, that's fairly normal, but what happens when that starts to become not normal? And so, you can use it as a hook, but kind of be careful there. No it, no get, got. Trying to be careful with to be verbs is an R. Kind of repeating those within a paragraph creates various problems, particularly some logic problems eventually. But again, it's going to be a process essay in one sense. It's also going to be a comparison. You're going to be comparing this person's experiences to the research you provide. And so it gets a little more complicated than might sound at first in terms of organization and everything. But again, the trick is finding a good topic. That's something we're going to keep working on as we finish the journals and start moving towards finding your narrow topic there. But if you have questions about it, be sure and let me know. Excuse me. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.